Hello and welcome back. Today we're checking out Ren Zotto and Doppio Dropscythe with playback. I'm ready to get into this. Let's just hit play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Tell me what you need, baby, yeah.
Okay.
Tell me what you need, baby, yeah.
Alright. Clean vocal. Kind of.
So affected and go round, round, round. As things go on, I thought
Okay.
that I won't risk it, but I'm ready, so steady. Now.
Okay, already I really like the soft synth, like ambient instrumentation we're going for. The vocals are great. I really like how their voices are matching. We have a really nice bass supporting vocal that's not fluctuating all that much, but because we have Ren on that higher vocal with a more dynamic range, it's creating this really nice duality between this like sturdy foundation and this very variable melody.
I thought that I won't risk it, but I'm ready, so steady. Now.
Nice. Okay. Percussion is a little intense for this. Nice lift. Yeah, there's a lot of bass in this. Okay. Okay. Alright. Nice transition. Nice. I love the inflection there. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna pause here. I have a little bit of a couple nitpicks, but I'm liking it so far. I really like the vocal demeanor we're having. That breathiness is a very nice for the more synth aesthetic to the song, but the percussive is a little bit too it's a little too clashing, I think. We have this pretty intense bass moments, and the percussive is kind of overwhelming the vocals a lot, I feel. And adding the suppression to the vocals as well kind of detracts a little more from that. So when we already have this percussive and bass tracks kind of overwhelming the vocals a little bit, adding on that vocal effect that suppresses the vocal tracks a bit, it adds this extra step of like burden to the vocal tracks. But aside from that mixing, in terms of like actual composition, I'm pretty happy with it so far. I do think that this drop was a tiny bit odd. I feel like we were getting some really nice lifts, and then it seems like we were going for a direct juxtaposition with a sudden bass drop. But I don't think it should have been quite. It just isn't super catchy, really. The playback. I might disagree with my own statement if as I've listened to the entire song, but so far I'm not really liking that hook, that playback. But I think the segment directly following that is pretty solid. I love this lift.
Let's go. Playback. I've got a better feeling. Playback. So take my hand, it's for you. We fly and run away. Tell my heart to stay beating. Whoa. Wake up and find me, you'll see it. And I'm just tired of finding all meaning. So I'll just take us. You won't need a reason. Come taste the flavor.
Nice. Okay. I want to actually go back a little bit. That transition was interesting. I don't think I've heard that transition before. Because usually we kind of go for like a classic like cutout and then re-emphasis of the percussive, or we kind of have like a synth rise, some sort of impact effect, or sometimes we use the cutout as an impact effect. That was I suppose it was an impact transition, but I don't think I've heard that effect. it might just be a bass pulse, but it's got this like distortion to it that makes it seem like there's sort of like another track layered over it, but I don't think, I think it's just an effect over a bass pulse. Yeah.
Hear the time tick ringing loud, loud, loud. My hands are filled up with desire. See if
Nice. There's a lot of good treble accompaniment there. I really like the treble accompaniment. Sorry, I know I'm pausing quite a bit here, but I really like the treble accompaniment there.
fill up with desire. See if I'll make a vow. So we drown, drown, drown. Reason to walk on my way. Gotta keep it.
Okay, rap segment.
Go with the flow, listen up, get away, open up, let me hear what you say. So we'll keep it together till dawn. Twisted to make what we say. Living our life every day. Why won't you seek? Why don't you see? My only
Huh.
reason to keep on the show. Look now. Till attack, till attack.
Okay. Nice lyric.
Give me that bass. Give me that, give me that. My sweetest gift with
Solid lyric.
you. Imagine
Okay.
what would you say? If magic was real for
Okay.
today. I see that you gave forth the
Like a
glow.
distorted
You to know that
bass
I'm
and
better and brighter with you. Come join a moment with
okay.
perfect view. Come find a
We're using a lot of like pitch correction, but there's a lot of pitch correction, but it's subtle enough that it doesn't really obstruct the vocals, which I like. I think that's actually very impressive on the mix side of things, to have that pitch correction, but to have it still get that vocal demeanor across. That's actually, I imagine that took quite a bit of fine tuning to still have the kind of best of both worlds with the pitch correction, and I don't think they needed the pitch correction either. I think that it's a deliberate choice here to have that pitch correction as this progression for the song. But I do think that it's a very impressive effect there to have that vocal demeanor still pop through despite the degree of pitch correction we have.
It's just meant for you. Don't stop me anymore. So smooth and on a roll. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Should have left that continuous.
Got a better feeling. Playback, playback. So take my hand, it's for you. We can fly and run away.
Interesting treble like counter melody, I suppose. Okay. All right. Okay. That was pretty solid. That was playback. I think I had some criticisms there, but overall, as a complete piece, I think it's pretty solid. That was a pretty solid original song there from Ren and Doppio. I do think that the compositional choices were a little bit too instrumental focused. I think I think there was a lot of really complex and fun instrumentation, but I think there were a lot of points where the percussion and the bass could have easily been a little quieter, not like out of the picture by any means, but just below the vocals, I think. And having those vocals a little bit cleaner for at least before that halfway mark, I think having some cleaner vocals would actually add more impact to that progression we had with that pitch correction. Kind of intensifying the pitch correction as an aesthetic choice. I think that would have lent itself better to the song, but those are just kind of my criticisms based on my preference. But overall, I think the song was super solid. I think this was very impressive mix of their voices. I think they definitely match each other very well. They're just how they project their voice. I mean, Ren definitely leans towards that higher register a lot, and he really used that here, especially with those lifts. There's some really nice vocal moments from Ren, and then I'm very surprised about Doppio actually. I don't remember if we've listened to just like a cover or anything from Doppio, but we definitely heard him from his group song. I forget which group he's a part of. I think it's like Luna. I could be wrong about that. I'm I can't remember which groups everyone's a part of. I'd have to check again. But Doppio definitely surprised me because I don't think he had the best pitch. I do believe I think we listened to like his raw vocals from that like big Niji Sanji like a group song. It was a while ago, but yeah, I do believe we heard his raw vocals there, and he didn't really strike me as the best at holding a pitch. Um, but I think he's improved a lot here, and obviously we do use some pitch correction and stuff here, but we definitely also placed him strategically in the mix. You know, for a lot of it, we do have him having a lot less dynamic vocals than Ren, especially towards the beginning. It's very noticeable, but I think it's a very good mix having that base foundation that's relatively solid with Ren's higher register. I just think that the instrumentation took a little bit too much of the spotlight for a few segments there, but overall, really solid. I do think that the playback part, I think maybe if there was, oh no, just like a little bit of like a delay or something, just kind of make it a little more catchy. I do like that they tried to like make it a like an A B segment, and not necessarily on rhyming. But it's just sort of like a playback, and then we had like a Ren segment, and then playback, Ren segment. It was like a back and forth. I do think that helped with the catchiness, but I don't necessarily like the hook too much. But overall, compositionally, I think this was really awesome. I think this is a really good usage of their voices with a really solid instrumentation. There were a lot of tracks there, especially with like percussive and multiple synth tracks going on. And especially towards the end, I believe we had like some really nice treble accompaniment that I mentioned with the Ren. I think it was right here. I'm not sure if it was this segment right here, but I don't remember exactly. I mentioned it earlier, but we had a lot of treble tracks matching him. I think it was here. Like there you can hear the arpeggio like da na 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 na. Not at that tempo. I can't really do it with my voice. But we had that treble accompaniment there, and then just multiple tracks. It's that mix awareness that is really nice. And segments like that make me surprised at why we had the bass and the percussion so high at some other segments. But overall, I mean, that is kind of just to my preference, right? So overall, I think this is a really solid song. And yeah, thank you for telling me about this and letting me know about it, recommending it to me to check out. And yeah, as always, feel free to recommend more things for me to check out in the comments below. Aside from that, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much.